Welcome back. Well, it's official. Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, the head of our Justice Department, has decided not to pursue federal charges, civil rights charges, in this case, the civil right of taking your life, against two white police officers who shot Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This was a particularly gruesome killing, and in fact, it was caught on video. These guys on the video, they grabbed him, they threw him on the hood of his car, they handcuffed him, they threw him to the ground, and while he's on the ground, a cop pulls out a gun and shoots him. In fact, here is the video. I'm pretty sure we bleeped all the obscenity out of it, but you can get a sense of what's going on. Here's just a short clip of it. This is we're seeing the Mr. Sterling being grabbed here now by the police, thrown to the ground. Sorry, I don't know if you can turn the volume up. And they're now, restraining him. There's two cops on top of him, and he's basically saying, get off me. And the cops just, put a gun to his chest and shot him twice. Or at least that's what it looks like.
They shot him?
And there's Alton Sterling.
Oh.
And this is, this Jeff Sessions says, we're not going to do anything about this. Right. This is, sort of what do you expect? White cops killing a black person. Do you expect Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, the guy who said he used to think the Klan was pretty good until he learned that they smoked pot? Do you expect him to really do anything about this? I mean, this is what you get when you get Republicans in office. Republicans who use race as a dog whistle to get votes. Then the mayor-president of Baton Rouge, Sharon Weston Broome, expressed outrage. This from the Rebecca Ruiz's piece in the New York Times yesterday. The mayor-president of Baton Rouge, Sharon Weston Broome, expressed outrage that neither she nor Mr. Sterling's family had been told of the decision by Jeff Sessions not to press charges before it was reported by the Washington Post. She says, no one in my office or the governor's office has been notified by the U.S. Attorney's Office. So Sessions just said, screw it. We're not even going to have the common courtesy to notify the family. Meanwhile, another black boy, the 15-year-old, a kid, was murdered by a police officer. His name is Jordan. Where'd his last name go? Hang on just a second. Jordan Edwards. There it is. I should highlight these things. Jordan Edwards, 15-year-old Jordan Edwards. He was not that it matters. I mean, he was unarmed, and he was a human being. And I get really this whole thing of, he was a model student, therefore, the implication being, therefore, his life was worth more than somebody who was not a model student, or somebody who had had problems with the law in the past. And of course, this is how they always try to trash young black kids who get killed by police, by white cops. Is Michael Brown, he was stealing cigarettes. Turns out, now in retrospect, it looks like he was, made a deal with the guy, but nonetheless, he was, this is from the editorial board of today's Washington Post. The Washington Post today published an op-ed. This is reflecting the opinion of the editors, the majority of the presumably all, but maybe it's just a majority. I don't know if they have consensus or majority rule there. But one or the other of the editors at the Washington Post, this is unsigned, this is by the editorial board itself. The police chief in the Dallas suburb of Balch Springs first said that the car 15-year-old Jordan Edwards was in when he was fatally shot by police was backing down the street in an aggressive manner toward the officers. Hours later, that statement was changed. Police admitted the car had been actually driving away from the police when an officer with a rifle fatally shot the boy in the head. And so the questions begin. How did something as mundane as police being called to break up a teen party result in the death of a 15-year-old described as a kid who did everything right? Did officers lie and think they could get away with blaming the victim until video evidence proved otherwise? The Washington Post is asking. I would say, yes, I'd bet money on it. Then the Washington Post says, and will this latest utterly needless death of a young African-American male make Black Lives Matter more than a hashtag by spurring needed police reforms? Jordan, a popular football player and model student, shot Saturday night after leaving a party with his brother and a group of friends, is the youngest of more than 330 people who have been shot and killed by police this year. 7% of those people, of those 330 people shot and killed by police this year, were, like Jordan, unarmed. Now, compare this with Great Britain, where you might have 1 or 2 police killings in an entire year, or Germany, where you might go several years without a police killing. I realize they're smaller countries, but not that much smaller. We have a serious problem with our policing culture in the United States. And, I've said this before, I think it tracks back to when at least in the southeastern United States and the southern United States, the police were the slave patrols. And, the mandate was, hey, there's a black person, get him. And that's still going on, as far as I can tell. And it's going to take a lot of effort by a lot of us, particularly white people. There's a lot of black people out there who are protesting this and angry about this, but this has been their experience for generations. But as white people are waking up to this, I'm talking to you, as white people are waking up to this, we need to be speaking out. We need to be allies in this. We need to be, we're all human beings here. And the brutalization of people based on their race is only one step away from the brutalization of people based on their politics. Again, talking to you, white people. You're starting to see that, by the way. The violent takedowns of people who are simply protesting. You have 17 now Republican-controlled states that are moving to criminalize protest. That are saying, oh, if you kill a protester because they happen to be in the street, there's no charges. This is the logical sequence. When you condone the murder of anybody, you're eventually condoning the murder of everybody. Not to mention the fact that this is just wrong, immoral, an extension of our horrible racist past. And on it goes. So I want to put that out there. It's still going on, and with the Trump Justice Department, they've decided pretty much, we're not going to do anything about this stuff. Which doesn't surprise me when you learn that it's Jeff Sessions, the most racist of the Keebler elves. Who is, promulgating this policy of not prosecuting these police. But there's something fundamentally wrong. We need higher standards for policing and better pay for police.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And better training for police, and we need and more community policing and less of the SWAT team, we're at war stuff.